Welcome back to On the Same Page. We are on Daf Chaf Amud Aleph, 20a of Maseches Taanis, and we are 3 lines from the bottom of the page, 5 words from the end of the line where it says Tanu Rabbanan. Last week at the end we were discussing the difference between a kaneh, a reed, and erez and cedar, and that even though Achia Shiloni had cursed the people, it would be like reeds in a way that's better than Bilam's blessing, that we should be like cedar. The Gemara says now, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Olam Yehei Adam Rach Kekaneh. A person should be soft like a kaneh, like a reed, in the way that we act towards others. V'al Yehei Kasha Ke'erez, and don't be hard like cedar towards other people. And it brings a story to bring this idea out. Shocking story, as you'll see. Maiseh Sheba Rabbi Elazar B'Rab Shimon Mimigdal Gador B'Beis Rabbo. It happened once that Rabbi Elazar, son of Reb Shimon, Bar Yochai, he was coming from Migdal Gador. This is a place. Migdal is like a tower. This fortress or this place. Mibeis Rabbo, where his rabbi lived. V'haya rachov ala chamar. He was riding a donkey. U'metayel al sfas hana'ar. And he was taking a leisurely ride along the river. Rashi says to rejoice. He was feeling very happy. V'samach simcha gedola. He was rejoicing. V'haisa daito gasa olav. And he was starting to become a little bit arrogant. Why? Mibnei shalamad Torah harbix. He had learned so much Torah. He was feeling good about himself. I'm special. I'm unique. Which could be fine, except for the following. Nizdamin lo, the next top of the next page says, Nizdamin lo adam echad shahaya mechur biyoser. He happened upon a man who was extremely ugly. Rashi says there are some versions say it was Eliyahu Hanavi, and he was coming to test him. He came upon a man who was extremely ugly. Amar lo, the man said, Shalom alecha Rabbi. He said, Shalom aleichem, my Rabbi. V'lo hechzer lo. And he didn't answer. Elazar Reb Shimon ignored him. And then Amar lo, then he said to him, he didn't answer him, Shalom aleichem, rather he said to him, Reika, empty one, Kama mechur oso ha'ish. How ugly this man is, how ugly you are. Shema kol b'nei ircha mechuarim kamoscha. Maybe your whole city is as ugly as you. So a really terrible thing to say to someone. Insulting, just shocking. So Amar lo, the man said, and again some say it was Eliyahu Hanavi who had come to test him. He said to him, Eini yodea, I don't know, maybe the rest of my city is, Ella Lech Emar Le'uman Shasani. Go tell the designer who made me, Kama Mechur Klizeh Shasisa. How ugly is the vessel that you've created. In other words, you think I'm ugly? Go tell God. He's the one who created me this way. Kivan Sheyada Ba'atzmo Shechata, when Rebbe Elazar realized that he had sinned, Yarad min achamar, he got off the donkey, v'nishtateach lefanav, and he bowed before the man, he bent before the man, v'amar lo, and he said, Na nisi lach macholi, like answer me, forgive me, or yeah. So he said, forgive me. So amar lo, eini mochel lach ad shetelech leuman shasani. See, the man was not so quick to forgive me. He said, I'm not forgiving you until you go, until you do what I said. Go to the designer who created me. Ve'emarlo, and tell him, Kama mechor klizeh shasisa. How ugly is the vessel that you've created. I'm not ready to forgive you until you go tell God how ugly the vessel that He created is. Hayimatayel acharav ad shigia le'irav. Now the man went back to his city, and Rebbe Elazar was chasing after him to get his forgiveness. Yatzu b'nei iro lekraso, or maybe they were just heading to the same place. Yatzu b'nei iro lekraso. The people of the city went out to greet him. Or it could be that this was Rebbe Elazar's city, because they're now coming out to greet him. And they said to him, Shalom Alecha, Rabbi, Mori. They said, Shalom Aleichem, greetings, Rabbi, Mori, my teacher. Amar Lahem, so the man who Rabbi Lazar met, the ugly man, said to them, Lamiatem karim Rabbi, who are you calling Rabbi? Who here is deserving of such a title? Amar lo lezeh shematayil acharecha, the one who's behind you. Right, so it seems that they had come out, right, that Rabbi Lazar Reb Shimon had been chasing after this man, had come to his city or their city, but they recognized whoever's city this was, but they recognized him, and they came out and said, oh, Rabbi, you're here. So the man said, who are you calling Rabbi? They said, the man behind you, the Rabbi Lazar. So Amar Lahem, Imzeh Rabbi, if this is what a Torah scholar is, if this is a Rabbi, Al Yirbu Kamoso B'Yisrael, let there not be any like him in Israel. Amar Lo, Mipnei Ma Amar Lahem Kach V'Kach. They said, why are you saying that? Mipnei Ma. Why would you say that? Amar Lahem, he said to them, Kach V'Kach Asali. He did this and that. He told them what had happened, what Rabbi Lazar had said to him. Amar Lo, they said to him, Afa Piking Macholo. Still, you should forgive him. Sha'adam gadol b'Torahu, he's great in Torah. And yet, I guess even someone great in Torah can make a mistake. But please forgive him. So Amar Lahem, Bishvilchem hareini mochelo. He said, I'll do it for you. For you, I'll forgive him. Uvilvad shelo yeragel lasos king, as long as he doesn't become accustomed to behaving this way. So miyad nichnas Rabbi Lazar Reb Shimon b'darash. So at that point, Rabbi Lazar Reb Shimon went and taught. Nachum, please go ahead. Okay, this isn't. Thank you.
Is no class on?
Please go ahead.
But
Thank
is
you.
your class gonna
Thank
work?
you. So miyad nichnas Rabbi Lazar Reb Shimon b'darash. At that moment, Rabbi Lazar Reb Shimon went out and taught. Le'olam yehei adam rach kekaneh. A person should be soft like a kaneh, like a reed. V'al yehei kashe ke'eres. And he shouldn't be hard like a cedar. Ulefikach zacha kana litol hemena kulmus. And that's why, right, so Rabbi Lazar Reb Shimon, he went and taught a person should be soft like a reed. Don't act hard like this, like I acted. And that's why the kaneh that was soft was zocha merited litol hemena kulmus liftovos ebratar tefillin mezuzos. That's why the reed merited that we have our quill comes from a reed to write a sefer Torah or tefillin or a mezuzah. And there seems to be a connection here that he was saying, as a Talmud Chacham also, someone who proliferates Torah, spreads Torah, so he also has to be just like the reed that writes the Torah, so too a person who teaches Torah has to be rach, has to be soft-spoken and kind, and God forbid not kasha, not hard, like the way Rabbi Lazar acted in that story. Okay, the Mishnah had said that an ear, a city that has a mapolis, has a collapse, something collapses, that's a bad sign, they should fast and blow shofar. So the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught. Mapolis sha'amru, this mapolis that they said, brios velo ruos, we're talking about where something that was healthy, a strong wall or building fell, not one that was already weak. If it was already weak, so then it's natural that it fell. That's not reason for fast. That means you should be doing repairs, right? But if it was healthy, if it was strong and it fell, that's a bad omen. That you fast for. Or she'enan ru'uyos lipo, also something that's not fit to fall, v'lo haruyos lipo, but not something that is fit to fall, that is expected to fall. So the Gemara says those seem to be the same things. It said it has to be something healthy and strong and not something weak. It has to be something that was not fit to fall rather than something that was fit to fall. Well, that just seems to be redundant, repeating the same thing. Hey niu brios, hey niu she'enan ru'uyos lipo. It's the same thing. Brios, healthy and strong, is the same thing as not fit to fall. And hey niu ru'uos, hey niu ru'uyos lipo. And weak is the same as saying something that's fit to fall. So what is it adding by saying this additional parameter that it's not just either something that's healthy or something that's not fit to fall. What does that add? So the Gemara says, Lo tzricha dinaflu machmas govayu, something that fell because of its height, inami dekaiman aguda dinahara, or it's something that is on the banks of a river. So both of those things, they may be strong, but they are normal to fall, and so that wouldn't count. That wouldn't count. That seems to be what the Gemara is saying. That if it's very tall, so it may be strong, but it's easier tipped, and also if it's on the bank of a river, so it may be strong, but the ground underneath it the river may wear down the earth, that the foundation and the earth around it, and that may cause it to fall. So that also that would be natural, that would be normal for it to fall. So therefore, that wouldn't be cause to fast. It gives an example. There was a certain beam, I think, that was in Neherda, and it was weak. And Rav and Shmuel wouldn't go under it because it was weak. Even though it had been there for 13 years, so it seemed like it was strong, but they wouldn't walk under it because they thought that it was weak. Yom Echad Ikla Rav Ada bar Ava lahasan. But one day Rav Ada bar Ava came to visit there in Nerda. So Amar le Shmuel Rav Nesimar Nakif. Shmuel said to Rav when they were walking with Rav Ada bar Ava, he said, "Let's go around. We shouldn't go under this weak beam like they normally did." So what happened? Amar le Rav said, "Lo tzarichna. We don't need to go around. Why? Because we have Rav Ada bar Ava with us. Because he has a lot of merit. And I'm not afraid. Because he has so much merit, I'm not afraid, and I don't think we need to go around. But that was an example of something that was weak and expected to fall, and so that would be normal if it would fall. But in this case, they had Rav Ada bar Ava with them. He had much merit. They didn't feel the need to go around. Rav Huna hava chamra bahu beisa re'iyah. Rav Huna had some wine in a house that was weak and ready to collapse. Ubayu lifnuye, and he wanted to take it out, but it was too dangerous to go in. But he needed to get his wine out. So he came up with a great plan. Rav Ada bar Ava lahasan. He brought Rav Ada bar Ava there, and mashche b'shmaitza, and he sort of delayed him with shmaitza, with talking through a sugya, talking and learning, talking about Torah. Adepanye, until he emptied out the whole wine storage. So he brought Rav Ada bar Ava, who we just saw in the previous story, had great merit, and now he was willing to go into the house and take out his wine. Basar de nafak, nafal besa. After they left, the house collapsed. Argish Rav Ada bar Ava. Rav Ada bar Ava realized what had happened, that he had sort of been tricked into coming here, and ikbid, and he was angry. Why? Savar la ki hada amr Rabbi Yanai. Because he held, like that which Rabbi Yanai says, that olam al yamad adam amakum sakana. Person shouldn't go somewhere dangerous v'yomar and say, "Oh, singly nice, God will make a miracle for me." You're not supposed to do that. Even if you have great merit, you shouldn't go and put yourself in danger and say, "Oh, God will save me." So he was angry that Rav Huna had done this to him and brought him here. Why? Why shouldn't you go into a dangerous place and say God will make a miracle? Because Shema ingo singlones. Because maybe he won't make the miracle. Vim timti lomar osinglones, and even if he does make the miracle, menaking lo mizuchuyosav, it will cost you from your merits, cost you a few points. So therefore, he did not appreciate that this had been done to him. Amar Rav Chanan saying, "Ma'ikra d'chsiv katonti mikol chasadim mikol emes." That's what the pasuk means. The verse means when Yaakov Avinu says, "Katonti, I've been lessened from all of the chesed that God has done for me, all the kindness, that now I don't have as much merit. God has saved me, but it's cost me." So the same thing, if a person puts themselves in a dangerous situation, maybe God will save them, but it's going to cost them a few merit points. So we said that Rav Ada bar Ava was a great man, right? He had much merit, and that's why people felt comfortable going to dangerous places with him, because of his great merit. But what was his merit? What did he do that was so great? So Kihada Itmar, we can find it from which was said. Shalu Talmidav Rav Ada bar Ava. When Rav Ada bar Ava was older, his students asked him, Bameh Arachta Yamim. How did you merit longevity? How do you reach an old age? Amar Lahem, he said the following: Miyamai lo ikbadti b'sot beisi. In all my days, I never got angry in my house. V'lo tza'ati b'fnei misha gadol mimeni. And I never walked in front of someone who was greater than me, which would be a lack of kavod, of respect. V'lo hirharti b'mavos hamitunafos. And I didn't think about Torah in dirty places. In this case, dirty alleyways where they would throw their garbage and other things. And I never went more than 4 cubits without, at least I guess in clean places, without Torah, without speaking in Torah, and without tefillin. And I never napped in the base medrash. Not short naps, temporary naps, not more long naps. And I never rejoiced over the failing of my friend. I never called my friend by a nickname. Or some say he never called him by his last name. Or they had family names even then, and it wasn't, he considered it, like a nickname to call someone by their family name rather than their first name, and he says he never did that. So Rav Ada bar Ava had many merits, both in the being Adam l'makom, between him and God, and also in the interpersonal. That's why he was such a tzaddik. Amar li Rava l'Rafram bar Papa. Rava asked Rafram bar Papa, tell us something good that Rav Huna did. What was special about Rav Huna? Amar le, he said to him, Biankuse lo dakirna. I don't remember what he did when he was young, but Besibuse dakirna, I remember what he did when he was older, and wow, was that special. Dikoyoma deiva havumafkile biguharka didahava. Whenever it was like cloudy and windy, stormy, they would bring him out in a gold carriage. V'sayer la l'kula masa, and they would bring him around and he would inspect the whole city. V'chalashisa dahavas riyasa havasasar. And if he saw any beams that looked weak, and it's a stormy day, it's going to get blown down, he would demolish it, so nobody would be hurt. If the person could afford to rebuild it, so then he would let the person themselves rebuild it. But if the owner couldn't afford it, he would pay for it to be rebuilt stronger. Not only that, every Erev Shabbos, every Friday, he would send a messenger to the shuk, to the market. If there were any extra vegetables in the market that the farmers still had left, he would buy them. What would he do with them? And he would throw them in the river. Gemara asks, why did he do that? He should give them to the poor. Why did he throw them in the river? Because he was concerned that they may come to rely on him and they won't buy any themselves, and they wait for him to come at the end, but maybe there won't be anything at the end. So this, right, he always waited till everything else was bought. If the poor people just didn't try to get some on their own and they waited for him, then there may be nothing left one week. So he didn't want to encourage that. It says, why didn't he give it to animals? Why is he throwing it in the river? It's a waste, give it to the animals. Kasavar, he held that you're not allowed to feed an animal with human food. You have to realize the difference between a human and an animal, and therefore you're not allowed to use the same food. It's a bizayon to the food. It's a disgrace to the food. That was what he held. I don't think we paskin that way, as far as I know, but that's what he held. The Rashi has a second interpretation that by throwing it in the river, he was actually providing it to people because it would float downriver and other people would be able to pick up the vegetables. So this was better than giving it to animals. If something is able to be consumed by people, you should give it to people, and therefore he would put it in the river so other people could pick it up downstream. Asks the Gemara, "V'lo izavnei klal." So let him not buy them at all. Why is he buying them in the first place if he's just going to throw them in the river? I guess if we understand that they were to go to other people, then maybe it's more understood. The Gemara asks this question: why did he buy them at all? He shouldn't buy them at all. No, nimtzeis machshilan lasid lava, because in the future this is going to be a stumbling block if they're not bought. Because what's going to happen is that the farmers, if they see not everything sold, they're going to bring less the next week, and in 1 week there won't be enough. So therefore he made sure to buy everything out so they would continue to bring a lot of food. This was another great thing that Rav Huna did. Another thing is, ki avavle milsa da'asusa, when he would have a potion, some kind of medicine, habimali kuza demaya, or they take it out, habimali kuza v'tali le b'seifa debesa. He would fill up a jug and put it at the edge of his house. The Amar, he would say, "Kol debayi leisi v'lishka." Whoever needs could come and get some of this medicine. So he would share this medicine that he would make. V'ikad Amri, and some say, "Milsa deshivsa havagamir." He understood how demons work. V'avamanach kuza demaya v'dalile, and he would leave a jug of water and hang it there. V'amar, he would say, "Kol detzarech leisi v'leil v'lo istakin." He would say, whoever needs could come and get, so they don't they're not in danger from the demons, because apparently washing your hands was a way to fight off these shadim, these demons. That's another thing that he would do. And lastly, ki have a karech rifta, when he would break bread, have a pasach lebave, he would open the gate of his house, the amar, and he would say, kol man detzarech le'esei v'lecha, whoever needs could come and eat. Amar Rava said, Kulu matina mekaima, all the things, right, Rava had asked Rav from Bar Papa to tell me about Rav Huna. These were all the things that he told him about Rav Huna. And Rava says, I could do all those things. I can go around town on stormy days and look if houses are going to fall over, and I can even pay for them, I guess, if the owner can't afford to rebuild them. And I can buy the vegetables on Erev Shabbos. I could put water outside my house or medicines. I could do all of those things except for the last thing of opening up my door so anyone could come get bread. That I can't do. Top of the next page, Mishum denafishi b'nei chelo de mechuza, because there are too many soldiers in mechuza, and they're going to come and eat me out of house and home. Rashi seems to have a different girsa, a different version. Mishum denafishi b'nei mechuza. There's too many people in mechuza. Not soldiers, but people. Rashi says there are too many poor people, and they're going to eat me out, and I'm not going to have anything left. But everything else I could do, but I can't open my doors and say anyone who would like can come and eat. Okay, thanks for listening. We'll pick up here next time.